Cobra.
What's going on, Gin Pros family? Thank you very much for joining us today on a Wednesday, September 1st. We're finally in September. It's crazy. Time is flying by, and we're almost into fall. It's almost football season. We're very excited for that big show tonight. Thank you for everybody joining in. We'll wait a little bit to get people joined in and, see how everything goes tonight. Really excited for this show, and we'll just jump right into it. So I want to introduce someone very, very special. Just joined the team, our brand new GM, Seth Conklin. Seth, how are we doing today, brother?
Everybody, how's it going?
So you go ahead and introduce yourself. Just tell people about yourself. Tell people how you got involved and what you're looking to do here.
Yeah, so how's it going, everybody? Been a sports advocate a long time, looking to get more involved in the game or whatnot. I actually met John through one of his golf outings. Was it the first or second Crunch Challenge? One of the two.
I think it was the first one,
yeah, first one. And then I was thinking about getting something started, like sports network wise, and was going to start my own thing or whatnot. And then I remembered I went to the golf outing, and John had this. I reached out to him, and then we made the business connection and decided to partner up and take this thing to the next level.
Yeah, the timing was great, and Seth and I have been in communication for a month and a half, probably a couple months now, and I'm really happy with how everything's transpired. Things are moving fast, but Gin Pros and, the entire operation, we needed a revamp. We needed a breath of fresh air. And it was only a matter of time before that happened and the right person came along, and that happened to be Seth. So I'm really happy to have Seth on board as our new GM. He's my right-hand man. I'm his right-hand man. It's a team effort, and we got big plans going forward for Gin Promotion. So we're really excited about it. Speaking to that, we got some new team members. Seth, you want to tell the people about our new team members?
Yeah, so with growing this, we're taking it to a whole new team. With that team growing, we got Cody Almasi, who's joining the team as college sports analyst. And actually, him and John are starting a new podcast under Gin Sports Network, which is Gin College. It's just strictly college sports, basketball, football, and highlight other sports, but mainly touch on those two throughout the year and keep everybody up. And then with him joining, we also have Fantasy Trending joining, Evan Gagnon. Super big sports bettor, super big fantasy guy. He actually quit a job for a couple of years and just strictly made a living off Fantasy Daily and like FanDuel, DraftKings, all that kind of stuff, and also just sports betting in general. So we're going to have new lineups coming out with him. Me and him are dropping a fantasy sports show. We also got another guy joining. We're waiting to debut him. He'll be signed on everything soon. But yes, we got that joining with the new team members. And then with that, we actually are taking Gin Pros, not in different directions. We're keeping Gin Promotions. But John, tell them about the new way we're going with that.
Yeah, so the Gin Sports Network is born. We'll jump right into that. If everybody knows, if people have been watching us for a long time, they know that we cover sports primarily. Yes, we dive into some different areas at some times, but we're primarily sports-based. We're a sports-based company. So the Gin Sports Network is born. It's going to take a lot of our time up. Our focus is basically going to shift from Gin Promotions itself into the Gin Sports Network. And that is going to encompass our new podcast, which is our existing podcast. And the name of that, it was always the official Gin Pros podcast. Now it is the Gin Sports Network podcast. So look out for that. Look out for updates around that area. It'll be more or less our review, our overview of the sports for that week, for that day, current events regarding sports, high impact news, things like that. We'll be covering those, all the time on our Instagram. There'll be a brand new Instagram page attributed to that along with the new podcast. So it's going to kind of work hand in hand with each other. I'm really excited about that. And then our other podcasts will be operating under the Gin Sports Network. So mine and Cody's Gin College, that's going to be operating under the Sports Network. And then Seth and Evan's podcast regarding fantasy sports is going to also be operating under the Gin Sports Network. So it's going to start a branch. It's going to start an umbrella of different sports talk shows that are going to involve different members, different guests all the time. They're going to basically be their own, in their own locations on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you find your podcast at, and you'll be able to find all of those through the Gin Sports Network. So it's going to be a brand new umbrella, brand new window of opportunity for us. We're really excited about that. So that kind of, encompasses the podcast name change to the Gin Sports Network podcast. That is underway. We're dealing with Apple and getting that changed right now. So I think that can kind of shift the focus, and that'll really help our viewers get more invested and really get more connected to what we got going on here at Gin Pro, since mostly, if not all of our podcasts are sports related. Going into the NFL season this year, we got a lot of sports, a lot of stuff coming on. We got college football on the way. We got, NFL, obviously, like I said, and the fantasy entire aspect of things is coming too. So we can talk about the Gin Fantasy League momentarily. I got a couple comments here. My Uncle John saying, welcome, Seth. Cheers.
Cheers.
Seth, if you don't know, my Uncle John's a very big viewer here on our podcast and our live stream. So he's a really big contributor.
Nice.
And he's also obviously a big fantasy football guy. He's in multiple, if not, 10 leagues every year in fantasy football. So he's a big guy. I go to him for advice often, and he really knows his stuff. So really cool. Also, Team Yonan, one of our Gin gamers, is going to he's going to be a huge asset for us too. We're going to talk about Gin gaming here, not tonight, but we're going to probably have Team Yonan on in our next show. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to have to introduce Seth to Jeremy too. Just to kind of get invested, and we can, kind of get more involved with Gin gaming, because we want to put a big revamp on that too. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, down the road we got a lot more coming than just sports too. So for the rest of Gin, don't worry, all that's coming. We're just building a foundation with this new sports network and stuff like that, and then from there, it's gonna be everything else down the road. But yeah, to touch on the fantasy league more, we're gonna be a sleeper app. We are asking for people to join. We'll be dropping the link. Get in. It is $100 buy-in. Winner, we'll have winner, second place, weekly high scores, yada yada, all that good stuff. Payouts that'll get broke down. And then from there, we're going 12-man league. We're going to go offense and defense. I know that's different for a lot of people that play fantasy. I'm in one like that, and it's awesome. The first year is just going to be random, like random draft order, stuff like that. Next year, we're going to look to take it to a dynasty league and have a new people, like a newly Gin fan base league every year too. So we're looking to really go after this whole fantasy sports thing. Like I said, Evan Gagnon at Fantasy Trending on Twitter and Instagram. Super big fantasy guy, makes a living off of it. He's going to be selling tips and giving out tips, and we got a whole Gin Bets program dropping. It's a lot of new stuff's coming with the whole fantasy world too.
Yeah, just to touch on the bets here for a little bit. So if everyone knows, our past handle on Instagram was at Bet with Gin. Now our home base is Gin Promotions, which is, basically Gin Pros lengthened. That Bet with Gin page is going to be reborn with Evan putting picks out there. We're going to be, introducing different bet packages with picks involving multiple sports. So we're really excited about that. That's going to kind of revamp the entire Bet with Gin mentality. We're really excited about that too. And I'm really excited to work with Evan and see what he knows and to see what he can kind of give us as far as insights are related to betting wise and gambling wise. That's a big part of what we do here also. But yeah, like Seth said, we got a lot of big plans regarding what we're doing over here at Gin. So it's a big deal, but we don't want to bite off more than we can chew. And I'll lead into that aspect a little bit more. We're hiring. We're trying to get more people encompassed with what we got going on. Let's talk about it. Let's be real. This is a foundational company. We're still building every single day. We're growing rapidly, but we want people to join us if you're willing and able, and you have the passion for sports, you have the passion to join something that has big potential, then by all means contact us in any of the means you have possible. You can check us out on our link tree and basically just contact us through any of those means on there, and we'll get in touch with you guys regarding that if you have the interest. We've already had multiple people come to us, and we're willing to vet them and basically see what they're capable of, see if they really want this. But basically, if they're sending us the DM, they're showing us that they want it, at least a little bit. And we have to kind of, introduce to them what we have and what we're willing to offer them in return for that. So if you're interested, please let us know. Go ahead, Seth.
And to touch on that, yeah, so just to give you insight of what we are hiring for, we're looking for admins, people that want to touch base and just maybe get more into the podcast world. Even if you don't want to be on a podcast, if you want to start doing more behind the scenes stuff, editing, we're looking for people like that. We're also looking for people that do want to be on cameras, whether it's sports related or down the road, we are going to be looking for just host style people, like people that want to be like a news anchor style. We are looking for those style people too. And we're also so sports wise right now, we're looking for analyst, host, insiders, people that want to make predictions. If you're a big sports bettor, reach out to us. We can maybe get you on a couple of shows and see how it goes. There's a bunch of things you can reach out to. So just to get a little bit more into what we are hiring for, that's what we're looking for.
100%. Yeah. So if you have any interest, if you just want to learn more about what we're looking for, what we're, anticipating from the community that we've already connected with so far, let us know, send us a DM with your interest, and we're interested in hearing from you. So yeah, really, really good stuff. And that's basically it. I really wanted to introduce Seth tonight. People have been waiting a long time for this, and I'm really kind of pissed off because for some reason, I don't know if it was a comment I made on Facebook, but we're actually unable to be streaming live on Facebook right now, which kind of really barks me up the wrong tree if I can be blunt. But it is what it is. We're going to roll with it. We are live on YouTube and Twitch right now. So everybody tuning in, I shared the link to the YouTube stream on my Facebook profile. So that is what it is. We're going to figure that out. Might have to go to Zuckerberg's house and have a conversation with him. Who knows? And we'll figure that out. But yeah, I really just wanted to introduce Seth tonight, and I'm glad he could show face and really have everyone put a name to the face, because you're going to be seeing a lot more of him coming up very soon. We'll just touch on one current event, and then we'll let you guys go for the night. Wanted to make this a short and sweet one. Let's talk about Jake Paul defeating Tyron Woodley in a split decision. Absolutely crazy decision. I had a little friendly bet with my brother Sam, $50 on Tyron Woodley. Obviously, decorated MMA fighter. Jake Paul was 3-0 going into this fight. I thought Tyron was going to come out with more of a punch, more of a gusto, but that just wasn't the case. I guess, Seth, what are your takeaways? You said you took Jake Paul. What were your thoughts
Yeah,
behind that?
I put a couple bets on Jake Paul. One, I'm a big MMA guy, so I wanted Tyron to win. I'm not a Jake Paul fan or nothing like that, but Paul's been training 4 straight years as a boxer. Woodley, yeah, he had boxing talent. He's been a boxer, but in MMA, if you get rocked, you get tired. You can take somebody down. You're allowed to pounce on them more. It looked like when he rocked him, I know people say it was rigged. I don't think Woodley would ever lose on purpose, no matter how to Jake Paul, no matter how much money he was offered. He's not hurting for money. He's not one of those famous people that get into drugs and get broke. I mean, I think he might have went broke from spending too much before, but that was years ago, and he's not anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he would for money. Like, he cares about himself and his character and wanted to put on for the MMA community. I think he backed off because he knows like his MMA instinct might have took over and he might have gone on top of him. I don't know why really, but if it wasn't for knockout power, I knew Paul was going to win. If it went to like, it was a split decision, but I don't even know if it should have been split decision, because if you watch the fight, Paul won more of the rounds than Woodley did, in my opinion, from the highlights I watched and everything like that.
Yeah, I did see that. And there was some shit talking going on to the judges from both Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley following the fight, and you can kind of call that however you want to, based on punches connected and things like that. But let's just talk about the topic at hand. So boxing and MMA, yes, they are combat sports. Yes, they are. You use your fists, but the technicalities of boxing compared to MMA, I think, are completely different. You look at Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is an incredible MMA fighter, well decorated in his own right, but couldn't really, touch or phase Floyd Mayweather in his own game. And that's tough because, those sports are similar, but they're also very much different. So when you combine the two, you got grappling with MMA, you got the ground play, like you mentioned, and that there's none of that in boxing. So that's a big downfall to the grapplers, to the people that, they grew up doing wrestling, and that's basically what they know. They like getting the guy to the ground and then dealing with them how they want to. You can't do that in boxing. So really,
Even the technicality, like how you gotta move is different in boxing compared to MMA. Like, it's somewhat similar, but I don't know. Even how Conor McGregor, when he was training for boxing so much, that first fight back with Dustin, not the second one where he pretty much got dusted, the first one, he was in such a wide stance because he was used to boxing. He trained for boxing for, 2.5 years before he came back to MMA, and Dustin just picked his leg apart that entire fight because he was used to boxing stance. You know what I'm saying? So even when you're training for boxing, when you come back into MMA, it was still, you could just tell he wasn't, I don't know, he didn't look right as an MMA fighter when he came back.
Yeah, it's so hard to be good at both and to master both sports because they're both arts, in their own right as well. So it's really kind of crazy to see that happen, but the decision was made. Then Jake Paul came out and said he was retiring, and then he came out of retirement. I think that was just kind of a ploy to get people hyped up, and they got articles coming out, oh, Jake Paul's retiring from boxing. Come on, guys. This guy's 24 years old. He's at the beginning of his career. He's not going to retire yet. Come on now.
If he fights Fury, he'll get dusted. If he fights Tommy Fury, he'll lose. Like, if he fights an actual boxer.
I hope he actually does that. He needs to do that. He's about time. His brother Logan fought Floyd, and whatever happened. It wasn't an official fight. But the fact that he even stepped in the ring with Floyd Money Mayweather, I mean, that says a lot about who he thinks he is and who he thinks he's capable of fighting.
He needs to fight a boxer. He needs to stop fighting MMA fighters for sure.
Oh, definitely. Uncle John with the comment, need an edge on the Georgia-Clemson game this weekend. Really, that's a very pertinent thing, and me and Cody are going to be talking about that very heavily. That is the Duke's Mayo Classic coming up this weekend. I'm really excited about that game. It's going to be a huge game. Obviously, no more Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. So how's that going to affect the dynamic and the quarterback position? Stay tuned, and we'll let you guys know coming up very soon. So I'm going to kind of hold off on that.
Friday. That podcast is on Friday, though, right?
That podcast is this Friday. Let me tell you the date. So that is tomorrow. The second. That is the second. The game's on the second, so the podcast will be on the third. I might go live on myself. I might go live on Instagram talking about the game. I can talk about it a little bit right now, but
Clemson, Georgia's is playing Thursday. I thought they were. Yeah. I thought they were this week. I didn't even know they were Thursday.
Oh, it's September 4th. September 4th. So that's Saturday. That's Saturday.
Yeah,
so we can cover that. My dates are all messed up.
Yeah, you skipped a day.
My dates are all, they're scrambled in my brain. It's like scrambled eggs up there. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know what sports are happening when. Obviously, a big weekend for college football, the debut weekend. And then in a week or so, we got the debut of the NFL regular season. So, make sure you get your drafts in. Make sure you get all your players drafted that you want. Fantasy's coming up. It's all going to hit us like a rainstorm, like a thunderstorm and a hurricane all at once. Okay, so get ready.
I'm not on that podcast Friday, so I'll give my insight, but listen to them because they're the college experts. But I'll do my pick. Georgia's +3 everywhere I'm seeing it. Like I'm taking Georgia for the +3, not money line, but taking the +3.
Taking the +3. Okay, all right, Georgia. All right. So Seth has spoken. He's taking +3 Georgia Bulldogs this Saturday. So I have not released my pick yet. I'll release it probably tomorrow or through the podcast. So you might
probably
have to wait
through
on
the podcast. Yeah.
I'll save it for the podcast. But guys, we're really excited at what we're capable of and all the shows we got coming up. So I just wanted to introduce Seth. Seth, is there anything else you want to tell the people before you sign off?
No, just get through these first couple episodes of each show. Like I said, we're taking Gin to a whole new level. It's pretty much a whole ESPN style, multiple shows, big things coming. We're going to have multiple insiders. So these first few weeks, we're going to have to get through the waves of it. But after that, we're going to be shooting straight to the sky. So just be ready for it.
Be ready for it. And I hope you guys are as excited as we are. But we'll leave it at that, guys. Thank you very much for tuning into the official Gin Pros live stream. I'm your host, as always, John J. II with Seth Conklin. Have a great night.